Good morning, everyone. I am not Asa Dotzler, so do not attempt to adjust your audio or your video. One of the things you may remember we talked about when we launched into 2019 with the project call is we were going to experiment with different hosts from around the company, different locations as the base of operations for the project call around the globe. And so this week we sort of got 1 foot into that process and 1 foot not quite yet. So this is the overture for the various acts of moving hosting around. Stay tuned for more information on that. We would like to get all the organizations represented, all the locations represented, even remote. So love to hear more about your ideas and input on that. In any event, I am your host for today, and let's get going. All right, so Friends of Mozilla. Shivam Singhal is our newest friend of add-ons. Shivam has been an active member of the add-ons community for the last year and a half as an extension developer and bug squasher on AMO. You can read more about his contributions and his focus in 2019 on working on web extensions and the add-ons manager in the add-ons blog. So welcome, Shivam. All right, moving on from Friends of Mozilla and remembering that this is not my touchscreen laptop. In the upcoming events for the week, on Wednesday, the 6th of February, the Homebrew Website Club will be meeting in Nuremberg, Germany. The details are there. Also, a virtual session in the EU with the details in New York, New York, the virtual America session, and in the San Francisco Mozilla office hosted by Tantec. If you would like to RSVP, the information on how to do that is there. And in fact, you can RSVP to the home site WebBrew Club using IndieWeb technologies, which would be great for you to add to your site and get the hang of. And you can find all of those details there as well. Refresh. Oh, hang on a second. Real-time update inbound. All right. There we go. Late breaking news. On Thursday of this week, the ET Speaker Series, the Ethical OS Toolkit, with futurist and game designer Jane McGonigal, and I think we're going to hear a little bit more about that later on in the guest presenter section, will be taking place in the San Francisco office and streamed to Airmo and Commons everywhere. So if you're keep an eye on your calendar, sign up for that session. In addition, there's a speculative futures meetup, Data in the Decision Tree, with Futurist and Boyson here in the Mountain View office with RSVP information in case you're available and interested and would like to sign up for that. Thanks, Miriam, for the live update. No other updates for this week. Let's move on to our speakers, some regular and some hot topics for the week. First up is Azita Rashed to give us the ET update. Whoops.
Do you want me to bring my laptop?
Nope, I got it. It's just I gotta figure out how to make it. There you go.
Hi everyone, I'm Azita. I'm going to be doing the update this week for ET's headline. First update is the Tech Speaker 2019 series. We completed the selection process for this new group of Mozilla tech speakers. This work started back actually in Q4. Before the holidays, there were 275 applicants, and out of those, 51 people were selected. Out of this new cohort, 55% are women, and spans across 23 different countries. So we'll be onboarding these new speakers in 8 different groups in the next month or two. And look for more on these tech speakers around the world near you and turning up in the social media and also on the web. The next update is on WebAssembly. Lynn Clark and Till Schneider gave a talk about the future of WebAssembly. This was focused on out-of-the-browser use cases at the Forward.js and also at a kickoff meeting of the WebAssembly meetup in the SF office. We filled the SF Commons space to the max, 135 people registered, so it was a great turn up. There's a lot of interest in the community on WebAssembly, so we plan to do more of these meetups in near future. And also, if you missed the talk, you can watch the YouTube on Hack's video channel. The last update I have is on enabling the inclusive development. This is, if you've heard, Miriam Avery in AT has talked about the XR Studio project and the mentoring that was provided by this program, and the collaboration across the space with women that were interested in the machine learning and also in mixed reality. Miriam and the strategic foresight team have built and released a toolkit. This is an inclusive development space toolkit, sharing the learnings from the XR Studio. You can, and this toolkit was actually released and promoted at Sundance, so if anyone is interested, you can go and take a look at the link that we shared here to help you create similar studios or I guess studios, right, in future. Thank you.
Thanks, Azita. All right, let's see who's up next. Scroll. Casey McGill in the San Francisco office to talk about crossing the Canadian border for the June all hands. Casey?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so some of you know me. I'm Casey McGill, if you don't, and I am the immigration specialist here at Mozilla. We are about 4.5 months out from All Hands, which, as you know, will be in Whistler, Canada in June. And now is a great time for you to start looking into the type of documentation that you might need to cross the border, be that a passport, an ETA, or a visa. It's been about 4 years since we've gone as a company, so it's a great time, like, just to make sure ETAs only were good for 5 years. So just as a reminder to check into that. Also, wanted to flag an issue that some might have. So Canada has deemed that certain legal infractions will make you inadmissible into Canada, and that means that you can't cross the border. So now is a great time to kind of check into that, and if you have any reason to think that you might be considered inadmissible, to reach out to me. We will link you up with our Canadian attorneys and see if there's any way that we can help you enter Canada for our Whistler All Hands. You can reach out to me. My name is Casey McGill. I'm on Slack, cmcgill@mozilla.com is my email. Also, after the call, I'll be circulating an email that has a little information on the website you can use to check into your admissibility and the type of documents that you would need to enter Canada for All Hands. That's all. Cheers.
Thank you, Casey. All right, next up, Miriam Avery, I think, is going to double dip a little bit here and do 2 for the price of 1, but we'll let you have it.
Oh, so actually, here, let me go to my slides. Oh, what happened? Where did you? I'm on the wrong thing. Thank you. Ha. There we go. So let me just share with you a little bit of context. So this Thursday we have 2 speakers coming to different Mozilla offices, both talking about the things that you can learn from weak signal scanning. So rather than just plugging those 2 things and double dipping, I wanted to give a little bit more broad context about what it is they're talking about, why I think it's important for Mozilla, and how I hope to invite all of you into this. Now, weak signal scanning, the language comes from military intelligence, and if you read into it, you'll find lots of fun anecdotes about how ignoring weak signals on the ground puts you at great strategic weakness. But I'd rather like us to think of it not in a military metaphor, but in a voyaging metaphor. So I'm inviting you all to think with me about sensing the future with aspiration, thinking about where you're going and what kinds of signals will help you get there, because I do believe that as Mozilla, that is the mode that we are in, rather than fixing your position and spinning around the radar to figure out what exactly the threats are to your current position, which can actually lead you to not see all of the signals that are really valuable. and it's brittle. Those of you who go through our annual upsets about how we measure our impact in the world know that sometimes people signal jam us, and we need to be resilient to that opportunity as well. So the way that I like to think about weak signal scanning is more like the Polynesian open voyage navigators who have to look at the stars and the wind and all of these hundreds of tiny signals that each one of them doesn't really tell you much, but together they give you a sense of where you're going strongly enough to navigate your way across the Pacific Ocean. On Thursday, we're having our two speakers, Jane McGonigal and Ann Boyson. One is talking about weak signals as a way to help us identify emerging risks and hone our ethical leadership. And the other is talking about how weak signals can emerge from quantitative data and how paying attention to those signals can help us actually figure out more nuanced and fair ways of doing data analysis. When you think about the variety of weak and strong signals that you need to get where you're going, they fall along this nice cascading sigmoid curve where you have your mainstream bits of change. Those are the things that you get in the newsroom channel in Slack here at Mozilla. Also things that you can readily glean on Twitter. Then you get down to the weaker signals that actually help us anticipate emerging conditions. Those we get from things like our Mozilla research grants and the XR Studio, things that are out more towards the fringe. So what we're doing in ET is we're building this portfolio of ways to bring weak signals into our organization and think about what they mean for our future. Because the why is so that we can talk about the future we want frequently, specifically, and in tangible details, that paying attention to very, very small things, whether it's an initiative that a startup is putting out or a particular reaction to a prototype that you find in user research, all of these are details that help us think about the future that we want and be able to speak about it, as Madeline Ashby says, in tangible details. More resources can be found on this slide. I won't talk about it. I will just hand it back over to David.
Thanks, Miriam. I'd like to think of our weekly project call as a purveyor of strong and weak signals. So let's see who is next in that regard. Sierra is going to talk about a survey, in fact, related to the project call. So over to you, Sierra.
Hi, everybody. It's Sierra coming in from the Pocket Office. For those who don't know me, I work in marketing on social and influencer relations, and I am part of the Project Call Committee. As David said earlier, we are looking to make some fun changes and make sure that this is a meeting that is worth everyone's time and is interesting. So when Michael sent out the email last week asking for the call for speakers for today, there was a little survey that was included. And right here, you can see the survey. It's in the agenda, in your inbox as well, and I'll be sending it around. It should only take you about 2 minutes to fill out, and we'd really love to hear from as many people as possible. Thanks again.
Sounds great.
All right. Thanks, Sierra. Okay. And next up is Andrew Krug for our weekly IT Minute. Over to you, Andrew.
We can see it. All's good.
It's time for the Mozilla IT Minute, where we tell you all the things IT is doing to help empower Mozillians in their mission to keep the web a global public resource, open and accessible to all. I'm Andrew Krug, hosting from my living room today because my central air is out and it's absolutely freezing in my office. In other news, it's February. Last week, the data team showcased a proof of concept on service health metrics. Service health metrics use a combination of data sources to report on how effective and satisfying the delivery of an IT service is. You can watch the demo linked here or check out the Service Health dashboard directly. Questions or comments on Service Health should be directed to Heather Krintz. Last week, we saw some of the first UX concepts for the internally facing Air Mozilla portal. This week, we're happy to share the new Air Mozilla product and research plan. The research plan will facilitate several studies on usability. If you'd like to participate in the usability study, please sign up by following the link on screen. On the product focus front, the customer ops team began working with the Firefox product and engineering teams. This partnership provides training and insights on the enterprise sales cycle. It encompasses everything from sales cycle times to contract management. In other news, IT has decided to standardize its project management tooling. Last week marks the official general availability of the Atlassian Jira platform. All IT teams have or will be transitioning to Jira shortly. If you're interested in the Jira efforts, please reach out to Mark Edwards. Finally, IT bids a fond farewell to Mozilla IRC for IT. The decision has been made to move primary contact for IT services to Slack by the end of H1 2019. This will be a phased approach beginning with the mock and service desk channels, which will no longer be in operation as of February 1st, 2019. More information can be found at the link below, and that's the Minute.
Thank you, Andrew. And our last speaker is Liz Noonan, who's going to talk to us remotely with the monthly update on the D&I dish. Liz.
Hello.
There you are.
I can kind of hear myself, so I assume you can hear me. Hi, David. Lots to update you on because we did not have updates in December and November due to us not having meetings. December and January for us not having the first meetings the first week of December and January. So I'll get right into it. First, we being our team, the D&I team, worked with leaders throughout the organization to set diversity and inclusion goals for 2019, just like last year. If you would like to learn more about those efforts, you can reach out to our team, or you can ask your manager for ideas of how you can contribute to your team's goals. Along with that, my team is trying a new project management framework that's a fun, agile, hybrid, and so we're running that experiment over the next 2 months about, and so you may see some changes coming out of us. Thank you for your patience as we try something new. Mozilla joined more than 170 private and public companies, startups and nonprofits from tech, retail, and everything in between, in an open letter to law firms committing to directing outside counsel spends and resources towards firms that work to create diverse and inclusive cultures, and that's something that we worked with very closely with our legal team. This was actually mentioned in an earlier update by Azita. We co-hosted a Women in VR event with the developer relations and mixed reality teams in support of XR Studio and the new inclusive development space toolkit, which Azita also mentioned. We had the opportunity to participate in recording some podcast interviews for the Voices of VR podcast with Kent Bai, and we are currently working on a post recapping our activities and the results at Sundance on the Mozilla Stands for Inclusion blog, which will come out later this month. And if you haven't checked out that blog, I highly suggest it. We're publishing regularly monthly content, and I'm biased, but I think it's very interesting. Larissa and Kelsey represented Mozilla at the Tech Intersections Conference in Oakland with members of the talent acquisition team and Mozilla attendees. The Ally Skills Workshop and concurrent conference took place in Oakland, and it brought together women of color and allies in tech for a one-day conference. And finally, Tara Robertson led our D&I session in the January onboarding session. She spoke on a panel at the World Changing Women Summit in Northern California, and she co-hosted the OpenCon Cascadia conference at our Portland office. And those are some highlights from the last month for our team. Real quick, some upcoming opportunities for participation that you may be interested in. We are launching our round 2 of Voice and Influence with remote training sessions in February, and circles holding their first meetings in early March. If you're interested in participating, you can reach out to me as soon as possible, because we are recruiting for those circles, and membership will be closed quickly, but you do still have a little time to get in if you're interested in participating or learning more information. We are also participating in Tech to Empower America, which brings social justice organizations and nonprofits from around the U.S. To learn more about how they can use tech tools and concepts to make their work better. We're hosting the privacy and security section, and if you're interested in mentoring in that or being involved, it's taking place March 4th through 8th, and I believe our days are March 6th and 7th. You can reach out to me for more information. That is taking place in the Bay Area. We also are participating in the Tech Group Festival in Atlanta in March 27th and through 29th. If you're interested in that, is for students and alumni of historic Black colleges and universities that are located in the Atlanta greater area. And we are looking for speakers for that. And we have a table, so if you would like to sign up to speak to participants, let me know. Again, that's in Atlanta, March 27th through 29th, and you can reach out to me for more information about any of those events. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Liz. All right, hit reload just to make sure. All right, that's it. Moving on, it's time for introducing new Mozillians. I think we have one for the week, being introduced by Vicky Chin from Toronto.
Hi, I'm Vicky Chen, and I'm Senior Engineering Manager for Firefox Performance, and I would like to welcome Will. His first day is today, Will Hawkins. He joins the performance team as a Senior Firefox Performance Engineer, and he'll be based out of the Toronto office. Welcome.
All right, I think that's it for this week. Please take a few minutes to fill out the survey on the project call that Sierra mentioned, and stay tuned for the survey to appear in some non-random location with a non-random host soon. Bye, everyone, and keep on rocking the free web.